All right, welcome back to Logan Simmons Photography. Great to have you here. And today I want to look at another piece of editing software called Luminar 4. And basically it uses, like a lot of other programs, artificial intelligence to edit those images and basically get to our results a little bit more quickly. That's the idea anyway. But before we get into it, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you can see other great videos like this. And if you like the video, make sure you hit that like button. Helps us out a lot there. So, got Nala with us, and we're going to go ahead and explore the program. So let's go ahead and look into it here. And I've imported a folder into Luminar. It does offer a very basic file navigator, which actually isn't really much more than you see here. I have it in the library mode right now, and you can see here, I've got my folders. I've just imported one for demonstration purposes, but I certainly could have more here. And there's some ways to select up there, and you can kind of scroll here on the left, and actually there are some basic quick image adjustments you can even do in the library mode. But I've got the first image I want to work with here, so I'm going to go over to Edit. And you can see right there, so here are the different options and what have you there. One thing I will mention that a lot of programs, with the exception of course Photoshop, don't have is a layers mode. So I can, if I wanted to, add a layer, and for example, one thing I might want to do is add an adjustment layer. So if I were to make some adjustments there, I could do that whole layer like that, and let's say erase some of it if I only wanted those adjustments in a certain area. So there are some powerful tools there, so that's helpful. I'm not going to worry about that today. I just wanted to mention that. I think what I'm going to do to start with, though, is actually look at these presets down here. And the first thing is AI Image Enhancer. So this is basically what Luminar thinks how this image would look best. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And of course you can see I can slide how much I want the amount to be. Updates fairly quickly here on this MacBook Pro. But I think I'm going to do a few more adjustments here. So I'm going to go over to Light, and let's say, it's a little bit cool, so I might go ahead and warm it up. Some good basic image things here. Highlights and shadows, I can adjust that if I'd like. Advanced settings, I can go in here and say, those greens, maybe I want to make those look a little bit different, a little bit more red. Of course, we can really screw things up here if we go too far. But let's say about right there. Add a little bit of magenta. In fact, maybe that's a little too much. I might adjust my tint, give me a little bit more green there. But some decent tools there. Go ahead and click out of that. And let's go to these AI modes here. In fact, I'm going to zoom into 100%. I want to take a look at structure here really quick, because this is almost like a clarity slider in the Adobe products. So I can go in here and say, let's go ahead and do that there. And it increases the contrast, the edges, makes it a little bit sharper. So that's definitely an improvement from where we started. Let's go ahead and zoom out so we can see all of it though, so we don't go overboard. Yeah, that's pretty nice there. And let's go ahead and do AI Enhance as well, which, honestly, it must be a combination of different things. We'll go ahead and just start sliding that slider up there. I think I do see maybe the saturation increasing a little bit there. I'm going to hold off on the sky here. You'll see why in a minute. And then Landscape Enhancer. This is a pretty cool thing. I can, this was taken, I don't know, 4 or 5 o'clock, so not quite to sunset, but fairly close. But I can accentuate that. Imagine if I was there an hour later by using this golden hour slider. And it's really going to saturate up those oranges, those reds. Foliage Enhancer, that kind of makes it a little bit more green. So I'm probably not going to do too much of that. But you can see there what it does. Of course, I can make a black and white conversion. I can look at my color channels and mix those. You've seen videos of me doing that before. There's color, so I can make it a little bit more vibrant, what have you there. So lots of different options. There is a denoise option. There's not too much in the way of noise in this image, but if I wanted to, maybe there's some detail up there in the sky that needs to be looked at. So I can go ahead and do that as well. So, fairly easy to operate. That's one thing I noticed about the program. It's very easy to get where you're going fairly quickly there. So lots of fun there. Now let's go ahead and move over to Creative. And this is where we start getting a little bit crazy here in this program. You're going back to Fit to Screen. Let's say, I like this cloud structure up here, the sky, but maybe it's not so good one day, or maybe you want to try something else. So what you can do is actually sky replacement. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this, and I can select a sky. If I recall here, I think it was Dramatic Sunset 2 is what I wanted to do. And it's going to try and detect the sky and replace it. Now I do see a little bit of the old sky leaking in here, so what I could go ahead and do, I can actually adjust where the horizon is. And I did notice that that does seem to help quite a bit there. And then relight scene, basically this is trying, the program will then try and match the lighting of the skies, the lighting there. In this case it kind of made it a little bit darker, which isn't necessarily inappropriate there. So that looks pretty cool. And there's all sorts of things. Augmented sky. You can actually add something, or a moon, or a, hey, you want an eagle in your shot, and there's an eagle. So some pretty ridiculous stuff going on there. I think I'm going to try and turn this thing off if I can. Let's see, let's go ahead and switch it off. There we go. And we'll look at some other things in another image, but just really crazy stuff. Let me do a couple other things and we'll kind of wrap it up here. Dodging and burning, for example. Let's say I wanted to lighten the image ever so slightly over here. I could do that without too much trouble there. And fairly easy to do there. So there's that. I think I'm going to probably not do so much of that though. I'm going to go ahead and do an undo there. But easy, great easy options to do there. I can go ahead and do a gradient, let's say. I think I might say, let's decrease the exposure a little bit here. And then of course I can move the gradient. Maybe that sky up there is a little bit too dark and I want to, not necessarily darken as much down here, but I want to do it more so up there. All sorts of cool little things. And let's say I want to do ahead and a vignette, which I think is over here in kind of the basic amount. I can go ahead and do that fairly easily. And let's see, choose subject. See if I can get it to work here. Ooh, come on, program. There we go. Okay, so fairly easy to do there. And hey, that's pretty easy. Maybe I'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and make a few last adjustments, and then we'll have our image here complete. There we go, pretty good. If you hear something in the background, that's either the cat or a possible thunderstorm, so just bear with us there. And I'll go ahead and export the image. And there are some different options. I'm just going to use JPEG for our particular purposes here. I'll go ahead and bring that quality up maybe to 90, and we'll go ahead and hit save there. And we'll export it there fairly quickly. Takes a minute or so, maybe not as fast as Adobe there. So lots of cool little adjustments in there. I'm going to go ahead and do one more. I want to show you one more thing. It looks like it's going to make me wait until it exports there. It's only a 12 megapixel image, doing it as a JPEG, so not quite sure why it takes so long. That is one thing I've noticed with the program. Exporting does seem to take a second, so I don't know if it's rendering all of the different things we did or not, but yeah, I'm in trial mode, so I guess it's finished there. So yeah, it took about a minute or so, so that's one thing to keep in mind about the program. Let me scroll down, or I guess it was scroll up here to my other image we'll take a look at here today. Here we go. And I think I'm going to go ahead, I'm not going to do a preset so much. I'm going to just start doing these AI enhancements really quick. Obviously, there's not too much of a sky here, but I think I'm going to go ahead, maybe warm it up a little bit. I might go ahead and bring up some shadow detail, do some contrast, or smart contrast, as they call it for whatever reason. And I think I'm going to go ahead and say, those greens there, I'm going to try and see if I can't edit those a little bit more, make it a little bit warmer. There we go. And maybe I'll look at structure as well, make it a little bit more contrasty. Again, very easy to get this thing moving. That's one thing I've noticed. It's very easy to get where you're going, which is kind of nice there. There we go. So some quick adjustments there. This is another cool thing I really wanted to show you, though. It's their sun rays option. So I can go ahead and hit this, and I can say, where do I want the sun to be? Well, based on where the actual light is coming from, I would estimate it's about maybe about right there. And then I can go ahead and hit amount. As you can see here, it actually put sun rays into the actual image, which is pretty cool. I might do some quick little adjustments here, penetration, and maybe a little bit more, but I'm gonna start dragging this thing around. And what it's trying to do, it's actually trying to figure out where the foliage and trees are, to know exactly how the sun rays would look if it was actually there. So for example, maybe I'll put it about right there, and do overall look, make it a little bit more popping right there. I think that's pretty cool. Then maybe we'll go ahead and do another vignette, and we'll go ahead and finish up here. I'm going to say do it in the middle, and we'll go ahead and do a quick vignette. on the edges, or at least I'm going to try. Here we go, about right there or so. So, you know, kind of a little interesting image that, you know, definitely didn't look like this when we started, but I think definitely it's a pretty cool effect. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and, if I can, I will go ahead and export the image again, send it out to the desktop, we'll go ahead and save that. So while it's exporting, I did want to touch base on this program as well as kind of editing culture in general in photography. We have made a lot of edits to these images, and a lot of people would argue, you know, by replacing a sky, by adding some flares that weren't there, that we're taking it too far. And that's something really to consider. You know, how far do you want to take something? For me personally, I don't like to replace whole objects and make it a completely different photograph than when I photographed it. I like to get out there and basically take my image and then do a couple minor adjustments when I bring them back into the computer. But each to his own. I would say, you know, for example, let's say reportage photography, news photography, some of these things can kind of deceive you if you start using them with images. So I think there is kind of some ethical things as well you should think about. So basically, you know, as far as the program itself, if you're into those replacements and those super advanced AI, making it look completely different, I think Luminar 4 does a pretty good job of that. It's one of the better ones that I've seen. If you're more into basic image editing, I don't think it's necessarily the best product to use. There definitely are better ones that are more powerful. Although, you know, you did see me doing those essential things, I did find the Adobe products to do this a little bit more easily and actually even have a little more flexibility in those particular areas. So that's my opinion. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and if you are interested in trying out Luminar 4, there is a link down there below where you can click on that and find out more information. So anyway, that is the show here for today. Do appreciate you watching. Again, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see more videos like this. And if you'd like the video, please like it. It helps us out a lot. So anyway, appreciate you watching, and you have a good one. Bye-bye.